where he wasn't favored or somebody could say, oh, this other team had a chance to win. It was just a matter of how they were going to win. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of how. And I think that's pretty much how you can break that down. All right, so also from this week, I want to give a shout out to Elderman Sports Davis in the chat room, a new visitor in the chat room. Appreciate you for coming in. Appreciate that. All right, so with this going up 3-0, it was pretty funny, the memes and everything that was going on. So LeBron says, I want to beat the Warriors just like everybody else. And then Draymond comes out and says, I want to win on their court. And it was a lot of trash talking. But one thing I did want to point out is the Paul George to the Cavs, they almost went, I don't know who put this out. I don't know if it's true. Part of it may be true. But they're already looking at next season and trying to see and how to get Paul George. Is that even possible? So
this rumor is constantly being pushed around now. And more so because of how well the Warriors have played and, basically saying that LeBron needs more help. Right? I mean, that is essentially what it's coming down to. LeBron needs more help. I don't personally believe there's a way for them to get Paul George. And the reason why is because of cap space, as well as who do you get rid of? The rumor is, okay, the Cavs will get rid of Kevin Love and replace him with Paul George, which sounds good. It sounds like a great idea. But who's to say that Indiana is going to take Kevin Love in that contract?
Right.
So it's all rumor. It's all rumor, and rightfully so. And I mean, I don't think, me personally, I don't think that getting Paul George actually, guarantees that they're going to beat the Warriors. I mean, you still, it definitely makes them a better defensive team, but I don't know if you can say, hey, Paul George is the answer for us beating the Warriors. I don't think so. I think you have some more pieces that you need to fill. But I would say, in my opinion, it's not happening. It's not possible. And you would have to give up more than Kevin Love to get Paul George. You still would have to clear a bunch of cap space, which is going to be extremely difficult to do because they're already over the luxury by a ton, by a mile. So I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening at all. You saw rumors, and mostly from Cavs fans, I think, and then also from other pundits who basically know that the Warriors are a team that's here to stay for a while. Like, they're going to be here for a couple of years. And so, if you really feel that you have a chance to get to the finals, or you believe that you are going to be in the finals, then you have to prepare as if, or you have to build a team that can match up with the Warriors. And so that's what you're basically seeing, is them trying to think of how we can match up with the Warriors. So I don't see it happening, but it's a great rumor. I think it's a great story.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's something that would be amazing if it does happen. But there's a lot of things that would have to work, a lot of things that would have to occur for that to happen. And I don't see it happening myself either. But it would be interesting. It would be interesting. So we got a comment in the chat line here. Alderman Sports Davis says, I'm waiting to hear the LeBron James is averaging a triple-double segment. We will get to that. We will get to that. Don't worry. We will get into that topic in the show. But also, I made a joke on Facebook, and I said LeBron's probably going to play football next year because it just seems like everything was not going their way, and they came back and they fought. I was definitely impressed with what they did in this previous game. But let's also talk about Gordon Hayward, who possibly going to the Celtics, possibly going to the Heat, or staying with the Jazz. In my opinion, I think he's going to go to the Celtics. I think they've got trade leverage. I think they probably have the money, and he would be a great addition to the Celtics. And I think they would make that move. But where do you think Hayward may be going?
I think so as well. I mean, I think you have to really look at Boston as being a legit contender for Gordon Hayward. You know, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, why not? I mean, Boston is really a player away from really competing. You know, they need that second scorer. Gordon Hayward will give them that. You know, that second scorer that they're looking for. You know, also a good defender. He fits the system. He's great moving with and without the ball. And that is one thing that the Celtics pride themselves on, is moving without the ball. You know, so he's like the perfect fit for that system. You look at that system. And then also, of course, you have the coaching connection. Brad Stevens, who coached him at Butler for years. You know, so I think that Boston probably has the best chance of getting Gordon Hayward over anybody, you know, over him, you know, getting there or staying with the Jazz. And, you know, also you look at the Jazz situation, and, you know, the Jazz are a really up-and-coming team. I told people last year, I was like, you know, this was a team that could have really made some noise if they didn't have injuries last year. You know, I think this year was the first year that they got to the playoffs pretty healthy for the most part. He still had some injuries. I think George Hill ended up getting hurt. But they have a lot of good players, and they need to stay healthy. Now, are they contenders in the Western Conference? No, they're not. They're not contenders.
That's going to be the problem. That's going to be, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's going to be the problem with every single team in the Western Conference. Can you compete with the Warriors? And if you don't have four quality pieces that could take over basically at any time in the game, then the answer is no.
Exactly. And then to add on to that, not only do you have to compete with the Warriors, but you also have the Spurs, who are right there as well. So you have to look at and say, hey, the two top teams in the league are averaging about 65 wins a season. You know, 60 to 65 wins a season, Spurs and the Warriors. You know, can we truly compete with them with the roster we have? Do I see us getting any better anytime soon? You know, the Warriors and Spurs are set up to play and pretty much play each other for probably the next 4 to 5 years. I mean, they're just really good teams, both of them. You know, yeah. So when you look at that aspect, it's like, okay, Boston just made the Eastern Conference Finals. And if I go over there, of course I have to deal with LeBron James. Well, LeBron James is not about to be there forever. He has probably, you know, this team is probably 2 or 3 years away from, you know, not being able to compete anymore. Like, you know, LeBron will not be the centerpiece of that team in 2 years. It'll have to be Kyrie, you know. And I mean, unless, you know, I mean, you just try to play the numbers. So looking at that aspect, okay, if I go to the Eastern Conference, I have a chance of playing in the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals, the next 2 to 3 years, and I could probably get one. I could possibly get one against LeBron. It's just an easier path. Yeah. You know, if I stay in the Western Conference, I have to get past San Antonio, and then I have to get past the Warriors. I might get past San Antonio. I'm not going to get past the Warriors. Or I might get past the Warriors, and then I go get past San Antonio. You're still messed up. You know. Right. So, Either way. So the easier path right now is going to the Eastern Conference. You have a chance. You have a chance if you can get to the finals, which Boston has shown they've been able to do.
Yeah. All right. Big shout out to, we got Team Broadcasting, Togo in the chat room. Also DJ Nunu. We also got her in the chat room. Appreciate you. She's actually either doing a show or just ended the show. So I appreciate you, Nunu, for coming on. Everybody, make sure you go check out all of the great shows on xsquadaffiliates.com. DJ Queen, DJ Nunu, also Chief Rocka, Jersey Vern. Go check out his show. A lot of great shows, a lot of great interaction on the chat, in the chat room. So let's switch over to football here. The biggest news from this week: Bob Stoops retires. I was surprised. I mean, I thought he had at least 3 to 5 more years. I know Oklahoma hasn't made it to a championship game in a while, but he still had the ability. He still had the physical ability and mental to still coach. So him stepping down, Lincoln Riley, I believe the youngest coach, or one of the youngest coaches, is going to be stepping in to coach for this Oklahoma team. So what's your thoughts on Bob Stoops? Do you think he's coming back? I think he's coming back eventually.
I don't. I think it's over. I think Bob Stoops went out the way he wanted to. And I was listening to some commentators about this, so I'm going to kind of share what some of the commentators were saying. Because again, you know, as you stated, it was kind of surprised that Bob Stoops was leaving. I was shocked. I mean, you know, they've gotten better. They just played in the playoffs. Was it last year or the year before last? They got to the playoffs. And so this was a team that was on the rise. They've been getting better or whatever. But what is being said is that Bob Stoops feels comfortable with the position of the organization right now. And the coach, Lincoln, who's coming in, is a highly regarded offensive coordinator. He has adjusted to the way the game is played today, which, you know, I think Bob Stoops is an old coach. You know, the game isn't played today the way it was played, you know, when he first started coaching in those times. So the game has changed a lot. You know, Lincoln has the ability to coach in today's time, and he feels comfortable with his ability, so comfortable that he's willing to lead the organization to him. So I don't think he's going to come back. I do think he will still be with Oklahoma in some type of capacity, whether that's like mentoring the coaches or, you know, working with the AD or some of that nature. I don't see him back on the coaching on the sideline though, just because where do you go? You built that Oklahoma program. You've been there for 20 years. I don't think you want to start over with a new program. Yeah,
I mean, I almost see this happening similar to a situation with the coach from Ohio State. I can't remember his name right now for some reason. Urban Meyer. I think it'd be in an Urban Meyer type situation. I don't think it's his health, but I think when you've been somewhere for so long, the expectation is so high, and if you do not win at Oklahoma, if you don't beat Texas in the battle of those two teams, then you're going to be frowned upon. It's a lot of criticism at Oklahoma, along with Texas, along with being in the Big 12. So I think he's going to take a couple years off. But I think if somebody comes knocking at the door, I think he's going to bite at it, and I think he's going to be successful if he decides to come back. But who knows?
I think he'll be successful if he comes back, if he decides to come back. I just don't see him coming back. I just, you know, and again, you know, it's always hard to call with these coaches, you know, again, right, because, you know, you look at the Urban Meyer situation, you know, Urban Meyer's situation, which I still think is interesting. I don't think he was ever unhealthy per se. I just think that Florida's time was up, and he saw that Florida was not going to be able to dominate anymore, and it was time for him to get up out of there. That's what I think. But you know, Urban Meyer ended up getting into a better situation. He always wanted to be a coach at Ohio State and those type of things. Stoops loved Oklahoma. He could have been left. He's had options to leave. He chose not to. And that's why it's hard for me to believe that he will come back and coach somewhere else.
Yeah. So we'll see. We got, NBA Finals game number 5 on Monday. So we'll definitely be talking. And always great getting you on the show. And we got a comment by Elder Sports Davis. He was saying, if the Cavs lost last night, will we be doing a weekend review this early in the show? My answer was yes, because I do this every week. I do the weekend sports. I'll have 2 guests on. We'll be talking NBA Finals, breaking that down. So But
We
if the Warriors,